This is a screen probably most of you haven't seen before, and this is a Screenflow results screen for the Under 18 Professional Development League in England. And what this is essentially a scouting tool in that imagine a guy sitting at home pulling up results from a competition. I live in Middle America. I want to look up results in the Bundesliga. What do? I go online. I can find games played, I can get basic statistics from those games. Screenflow gets a little bit deeper. This is in the base skin. One of the weird things about the base skin is, if you notice down here, there are a bunch of different categories. You only get 8 in the base skin, and you can choose them. So like as an example, if I change this to starting appearances, it's going to say Steve McMullen for the Fleetwood Under-18s has had 13 appearances. Now, this is not the Basel save. This is lower league Vanarama South team save, because I want to show the abilities of Screenflow no matter what level of football you are playing at. So this is more of a director football save. I'm just clicking through to try stuff out and things like that. So as you can see, Nathan Heche from QPR Under-18s leads with 8 goals. He's 17 years old. If we click on him, we get a range of some of his attributes. Now, I need to go in and fix these. There we go, that's a little better. Now, as you can see, we are getting a range of some of his attributes. I do not have a scout in England. I am a Vanarama North squad. If I have a scout in England, it's because we're spending way too much money on scouting. As a matter of fact, I should be able to do this. We have no recruitment focuses going on whatsoever. Our scouting range is the National League North and South. So how am I getting this? Some of it's our team's reputation. Some of it is the competition's reputation. Some of it is the player's reputation. But as an example, you're looking at a 17-year-old player at QPR with an acceleration of anywhere from 8 to 16, a jumping reach of 9 to 17, and a finishing of 8 to 14. He plays striker. He's already got 9 goals in 15 appearances and 9 off the bench in the under 19. He plays for the under-18s. So he's essentially dominating the under-18s where he's at. Times like these, especially if you're a team like Warrington, you don't want to scout him. You can't afford to scout him. You can, however, add him to a short list, and he will stay on there indefinitely until you take him off. And the good thing is, depending on how many leagues you have loaded, and the leagues do not have to be fully loaded, they just have to be on view only, you can scout all over the world. And I mean all over the world. Now, one of the other things you can do is you can click various other reports, team overviews, how the teams are doing, team detailed, various statistics with each team, player overview, which is what we're looking at. That's what I default to when I set up Screenflow. Player detailed, if you want a little bit more on a screen. You can also filter these out by position. This comes in handy, especially when you are looking at competitions outside of your scouting range and really far away from where you are. I'm going to show you how to set that up here in just a minute. I don't know why you'd want to look at referees. Injury tables can kind of come in handy, especially if you got a guy who's showing up injured a lot. Suspensions you don't need to worry about. I always go back to player overview. Okay, now this is the base skin Screenflow setup. And the way you do set this up is you go into your preferences menu. It's going to be under most common, and it's going to be in Screenflow. You're going to click that, and you're going to have a bunch of options. I already uploaded these. Now, I'm going to take all these off, just an example. Here's the kicker about Screenflow. You can't save it. It's not a view. It's not a filter. There are some programming questions behind the scenes with it, which is why they haven't been able to make it savable. You know, as an example, I've got a pretty beefy PC. 9 times out of 10, no matter what team I'm playing, when and where, I load all the countries, I load all the players. I set my Screenflow up for that. I try and bring it into a single club save like this. The Screenflow is not going to work because I'll have countries and leagues loaded that I don't have loaded here. So as an example, we're going to go back here. If we look at the add remove leagues, I've got England as the only playable league, all the way down the Vanarama North South. Gibraltar is view only, Republic of Ireland is view only, Northern Ireland is view only, Scotland is view only. If I go back to preferences, I go back to Screenflow, I'm going to take all these off. You're going to get the ability to select the competition. These are all the international competitions in each continent. If you want to, you can load them all. If you're looking for a youth development sort of save, load all the U20 and U18 things you can find. Same thing for Asia, same thing for North America, same thing for Oceania, same thing for South America, same thing for the world. No matter what team you are, at what level of football you are, even level 20 English databases. If you're in the 20th tier of the English pyramid, you can access this and use it to scout. I use the word scout quite loosely, but you can get a leg up. You go to Europe, because we're in Europe, you're going to see the countries that we have loaded. England, every competition in England is selectable. In Gibraltar, same with Gibraltar. Italy is in here because the Italy Youth Club Invitational is an international. Northern Ireland, you got all the leagues. Republic of Ireland, you have all the leagues. Scotland, you have all the leagues. All your UEFA stuff. All your European U21, U19, U20 elites, and things like that. Say South America, you want to start looking at the Campeonato Sudamerica Sub-17s. You load that up. Overview profile, you change to player overview on match day. Stop the game. No. Click confirm. You do that for every league you want to load. Put it on player overview. Click confirm. One of the other things you can do, and this is also very cool, is you can go to a country, you can go to a league. So as an example, we're going to click Vanarama National. You can get results from those leagues if you want, but you can also get transfers and transfer rumors. Now how you set this up is transfers and transfer rumors, scope, all the time, then this minimum interval is going to light up. You can get them every day, every 2 days, every 3 days. And you can do this for every league in the game. If you're a smaller club with next to no scouting budget, you can use this to poach other players that teams are looking at. Because you will get a report that says, Joe Manship is being chased by XYZ team. And you go and click on them. If you like them, hey, maybe you make a trial offer for them. Once in a while, you will see a good player being mentioned by other teams. You can get in on the bidding process and drive the cost up, even if you don't want him. And believe me, you can load a ton of stuff. I'm going to show you that here now. But first, what I want to do is we're going to switch skins real quick. Like I said, this is the base skin. I'm using the SAS skin right now. Those of you who've been following me for a while on the channel, I am very agnostic when it comes to skins. Now, I did not save or confirm my previous edits, so this one is back. When you're done loading everything, you have to click this confirm button down here. So those of you who have followed me for a while know, as I mentioned earlier, I'm very agnostic about skins. I try them all out. 9 times out of 10, there's something wrong with them. Not wrong with them, but something that just bothers me that I don't use them for a while. So last year, I switched between Statman and Musterman. Ben and Jimin have both done amazing things in pushing skins forward, especially with the help of FM Stag and some of the other data-driven stuff going on. They're changing both these skins this year to go away from numbers to graphics. That's not really my thing. I'll give it a try, see if I like it. If not, there are plenty of other skins out there. Whatever you can find to suit your tastes, I'm fairly sure someone out there has made it. Even at the end of the day, if all you want to do is download the Wannachup skin so you can get the instant result on the base skin, that is perfectly fine. This is Screenflow under the SAS skins. You can see it is a very moddable screen. In this case, SAS has added determination, player of the match in appearances, 10 to 18 passing on assists, dribbles per 90 minutes, don't have the dribbling there, finishing, so on and so forth. So as an example, we were just looking at Nathan Heche. How about we look at Alvaro Ruiz Rente, Birmingham under 18s, 7 goals in 10 appearances, 124.29 minutes between goals, 14 to 20 finishing. We look him up, 14 to 20, 8 to 14, 6 to 14, 8 to 17 passing. This kid, wow, he's got some potential on him. So in this case, add him to a short list. Now, we're going to switch to my Basel save. And here we are. As you can see, we're currently in 4th place. 2 games played, 2 games won, 3 goal differential, 6 points. We're doing really well. We're off to a good start. Dori Jovanovic, 2 goals, 7.37 rating. A lot of guys with 1 assist. It's early. I haven't set up the Screenflow yet, and I'm not going to this episode, but I just want to show you how deep you can go with it. As you can see, if I go to add remove leagues, I have them all loaded, and they are all playable. So I don't know why that says 5 stars. I really don't. I mean, I've got a good computer. It's a couple years old, but 2 years ago it was top of the line, which means it's about top 80% these days. But I got 500,000 players and everything going on there. It shouldn't be. Well, okay, that's computer performance. Game speed's a little bit slow, but frankly, my very first computer game was War Games on a Commodore 64 tape deck back in 1983. I'm fine with a slow game every once in a while. Screenflow. I have all the countries loaded. So that's South America. If I want to look at the South American under 19s, groups 1, 2, and 3, I can. Asia. Again, all the countries loaded. If I want to add all the under 19 stuff, all the under 20 stuff, I can. I will. All the European countries. This is where it gets wild. South America, Brazil. You've got all the Brazil competitions, all the state competitions, all the under 20 state competitions. Probably one of the better players I found was when I was doing a Kaiserslautern save in, I want to say, FM24. I found a Brazilian kid in the second tier of Brazilian football who ended up being a world-class player. And because Brazil is so big and there's so many good youth players there, he was kind of lost in the shuffle. I found him because I had this particular, I don't even remember what it is. I might be able to look it up and find it real quick. It may have been one of these under 20 state championships. I mean, for crying out loud, look, I'm still scrolling down here. Or maybe it was this Brazilian National U20 Championship. And he was just dominating it as a 17-year-old. But he was playing on a second-tier Brazilian squad that wasn't doing very well, and no one else was looking at him. I got him for a song. He came over, put himself on the map with some really huge performances. We kept him maybe 2 to 3 years, and then he moved on. His name was Helio. He moved to Spain, and then I wanted to say he moved to England, and 15 years later down the road, he ended up being Player of the Year multiple times. I personally have found more good young players through Screenflow than any other mechanic in the game. Screenflow also works hand in hand with your scouting. Now, I'm going to go further into that on another video and probably a blog post on the blog. But what's going to end up happening here in Basel, because it's going to take me forever to get this loaded up and in the way I want, because I'm gonna go through and load all the under 23 and under competitions and a lot of the qualifying stuff. Because in some places like Brazil or Argentina, there's good players on lower division squads who are never going to make it to the national level. They're in the hall of very good. They're not world class. They're very good class. In America, we have this euphemism for baseball players. They're 4A. So in America, you have 3 levels of baseball, A, AA, AAA, and then you have the pros. And you have players who are too good for AAA, but maybe not really good enough for the pros. They call them 4A players. They tend to bounce around quite a bit. They're really good players. And if you're on a smaller squad somewhere in a country where you can get a couple foreign players, they will help you out immensely. But essentially what you're doing with the Screenflow is you're setting up scouting shortlists, huge shortlists. And then as your club grows and you add more scouts and you add more mini regions to your scouting, if those players that you shortlisted 2 and 3 years ago are still showing up and you can see their improvement, so much the better. Now, I'm not quite sure how it works, but I also know that if you have Screenflow set up for competitions in a country that you are scouting, you will get more information on those players. You have some knowledge of them, not in-depth knowledge, not 100% knowledge. It's more based on reputation and your scout's skill and a couple of other things under the hood that I have not been able to figure out yet. And frankly, about the only spare block of time I have these days is between 2 and 6 a.m. As much as I am interested in finding that out, I just don't have the time for it. So if anybody out there watching knows what's going on, drop me a message below and we can talk about it. Our schedule so far has been really good. We've been undefeated. We beat Lugano 2-1, thanks to a Jovanovic goal in the 46th minute and a Dubasin goal in the 59th minute. We beat, this is going to, Zaliger Zegi. Totally on the wrong. As we wait for my graphics to change, because I had it on the 2560 by 1440, which frankly is a little bit too small for me these days, even with the bifocals. So we're switching 1920 by 1080. Screenflow will help you get reports back on players that are in countries that normally you wouldn't scout. So you'll get reports from like these D and F tier countries that you normally wouldn't send a scout to because you have other countries you want to look at. But every once in a while, you'll see a player pop up. I saw a guy last year in FM23 from Thailand. Started showing up in the Thai under 17 or the Thai under 19, 21, 23 competitions. I don't remember off the top of my head. And he was absolutely dominating. I put a scout on him. Or I didn't put a scout on him. I signed him to a short list. And then because he's on the short list, every once in a while he would pop up. And then you would see other teams be interested in him and his name would pop up. He went from Thailand to Italy to Spain to England. And he ended up being one of the best wingers in the game. The guy was maybe all of 5'4", but dude had 17 crossing and 17 flare, 19 pace, 19 acceleration when he fully developed. It was like, I saw him at 17 when his range was like 9 to 16, 10 to 18 sort of thing. And I just didn't have the money at the time. It's one of those things you build. What's the best way to put this? Screenflow is a way to build your scouting knowledge base without expending any resources on it other than your hand and maybe possibly carpal tunnel syndrome, because setting it up sometimes can be a pain in the ass. It's a tool that not a lot of people use just because not a lot of people know it's there, I think. I saw a video that Fox and the Box did on it in FM17. I thought, this is great. Screenflow used in conjunction with scouting, used in conjunction with regional scouting, mini regional scouting, things like that. You will be able to find those diamonds in the rough that other clubs are missing. A lot of people like to focus on your S-tier countries, Germany, England, Spain, France, those countries. There's some B and C tier countries out there that have really good players that kind of get lost in the shuffle because the countries they play for just aren't that good sometimes. And they haven't caught anyone's eye. So you have to go ahead and find them early, identify them early. Now, sometimes you'll miss. Sometimes you'll find the guy who's got 9 to 16, 9 to 16, 9 to 16 across various things. And he's on your list, and then you see he's being signed by another country. You go and look at him. His attributes have improved, and now it's 9 to 12. Well, if that happens, you just remove him off the short list. At the end of the day, we're going to have a short list for every region in FM24. Because what you do is you find a striker in Oceania, you assign him to the Oceanian shortlist. You find a striker in Europe, you assign him to the European shortlist. Unless you want to get granular, like really, really granular. You have a striker shortlist, an AML shortlist, an AMC shortlist, so on and so forth. You can do that. You can even go region position. It all depends on what you want to do and how much time and effort you want to put into it. And I think that's another reason a lot of people don't use Screenflow, is that it requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of effort. But once it's set up, it's one of those things where once it's set up, where you have everything set up, it works great. It's just the 90% of effort you have to take into getting that 10% really good result. A lot of people just don't want to do. And I get it because, frankly, sometimes it is a bear. So, as I mentioned earlier, we beat Lugano 2-1. We beat Zalaegerszeg, who are a Hungarian team. And then we turned around and beat Lausanne Sport. We're playing Zalaegerszeg today. Then we're playing a challenge region in the Schweizer Cup final. We might come back for that. It depends. We'll see what happens here. So the squad's shaking out really well. The only player I really have concerns about is this guy right here, Talent Zaka. He's 32 years old, 3-star current, 3-star potential ability. He's a very good defensive center midfielder. I kid you not. Winds up opponents, argues with officials. His hidden tributes have to be absolutely all over the place because he's determined, he's outspoken. Every team talk I've ever given, he has been aggressive. And we're 2 games in the season, dude has 1 yellow card and 1 red card already. He's good. He's not great. He's 32 years old, so he's probably not going to be here for much longer. But holy cow. I have him on the field because he's my best ball-winning midfielder. And every time I get a clip, it's like, is he going to stay on the field once this play is ended? At this point, it's 6-5 and pick him. So I haven't really introduced all the players. We're going to do that here now. So Marwin Hertz is 35 years old. He's our first choice keeper, 3.5-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability. He's not bad. He's not good, but he's decent. He comes to us from Dortmund from back in the day. I'm really kind of hoping Niels de Mol could step up and take over, but at 22 years old, I don't know how much more he is going to be able to step up. Michael Lang, 32 years old, defensive right back, wing back. Again, another solid player. I say this a lot in my saves. Solid but unspectacular. Lunch pail type of guy. Knows his job. Comes in, does it. He's starting today because I want to say Kevin Rueg and Mohamed Drager are both a bit on the tired side. We'll check something here real quick. Adrian Lee Barisic, center back. 22 years old, 3-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. It's possible he could reach that 4-star ability. He's a very solid center back. Decent heading, decent marking, decent tackling. I mean, 10's average, so he's above average there. He's above average in most things. Again, solid, unspectacular. Finn Van Bremen, 3-star current, 3-star potential, 20 years old. He's got 4-star potential, rather. It's possible he could see it too. Dominic Schmid, jack of all trades, master of none. Don't worry about the down arrow. It's SI being SI because that 11.2 went to 11.1. So now the down arrow is there. So 25 years old, 3.5-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. He's going to be a 3.5-star guy unless something happens behind the scenes. Probable, highly unlikely. I like him because, again, jack of all trades, master of none. Always nice to have a couple of these guys on your squad. Renato Viega, defensive midfielder, pretty good defensive midfielder, 20 years old, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. It's possible he could see it, especially if his physicals and his mentals improve. He's also my long throw guy. He's got a 16 long throws. Absolutely fabulous. Talent Zaka we already looked at. Fabian Fry, defensive mid, defensive center, midfielder. Again, one of those midfield jack of all trades, master of none, but not so much up top. 34 years old. His acceleration and agility are just, they're bringing him down. His best days are behind him. So, but he's doing a very good job as a center midfielder, deep line playmaker type of player. As you can see, he's already had 1 assist. You know, as long as the players aren't doing anything to hurt us, I'm okay with that. It's when they start doing stupid things that cost us games that it's like, no. So, Juan Guato, 4-star current ability, 5-star potential ability, 19 years old. Chances are he'll probably see that 5-star ability. That's going to be 5 stars for the Swiss League. So even then, that's still well above average. So, 15 dribbling is very good. His corners aren't bad. Technique is also not bad. His mentals, I really like. They're all above 10. They can only go up. I suspect he's going to be one of those guys that gets sold to help us stay solvent. Jonathan Dubassin, 23 years old, 4-star current, 4-star potential, probably our best all-around player on the game. 15 dribbling is nice, 12 technique is nice, 15 flair, 13 work rate, 14 determination. His only weakness really is his fitness. But again, another one of those players who, if time comes, might be moving on. And then Dorda Jovanovic, 24 years old, 3.5-star current, 4-star potential. He might reach that 4. I highly doubt it. But he's a very good big man up front, 6'2", 175 pounds, 15 heading, 15 jumping, 13 balance, 15 strength, a decent off the ball. His positioning is not the best, but frankly, all he has to do is stand near the top of a box as the target man, wait for any balls that come in him, and either head them in or pass them off to the wingers who are breaking inside. The one guy we will look at on the bench is Yusuf Demir, the former Wonder Kid. Still has Wonder Kid potential. 3-star current, 4.5 stars. Still only 20 years old. He's bounced around quite a bit. First Vienna, Rapid Vienna, to Barcelona on loan, where he got 6 starts and did nothing. Back to Rapid Vienna, Galatasaray. I don't know what Vienna's doing. They just seem to have no ideas what the heck is going on with him. Honestly, if we could pick him up on the low end of that 850,000, I would be all over it. But I don't know that he would want to play here. We're a good club, but we may not be a big enough club for him, if that makes sense. Kevin Rueg is our other lone player. He is in from Hellas Verona, 3.5-star current ability, 4-star potential ability, defensive right back, can also play wing back. His thing is he hates big matches and he's injury prone. But, at this point, what am I going to do? And so this is who we have today. We're going to have Hitzengold, Schmid, Van Bremen, Barisic, and Lang as the defensive back four. Viega is the defensive mid behind Fry and Zaka. Dubassin and Gato up top as the attacking mids, with Jovanovic as the target forward on support. I'm going to have to switch some things up here. I started using this view in the summer when I was doing my own save, and I really like it. It works for me because you can see the players, how they're moving. You can see how they're lining up. Oh, Gauto loses the ball. Lang recovers. Gets it back to Barisic. Up to Zaka. To Fry. Fry back to Van Bremen. Up to Schmid. Schmid. Dubison takes the shot from distance and scores. His first goal was like that from about the same place. Is it me or does the game look a little foggy? Crowd noises might be a bit too loud too. Of course, I also have my volume turned up, so if the music's too loud, I'm sorry. I know I adjusted it down to 3. I may have to adjust it down to 2. Viega to Fry. Jovanovic gets out of trouble, gets to Van Bremen. Van Bremen over to Lang. Lang feeds Gauto. Gauto one-touches Jovanovic. Gauto takes the shot off the post and in. A little help from the equipment. Some very nice ball movement from the squad. Jovanovic sitting between the 2 defenders. Nice pass. Senko had a chance, but he really didn't try, in my opinion. For some reason, Zaka is upset. Everyone else is kind of meh, and we go into halftime with a 2-0 lead. Zaka is calm. Zaka is calm. Shh, everybody. Let's be happy. The only thing you have to remember is when you're doing the and Van Bremen scores off the set piece. When you're using this view, you gotta reverse it. It looks like there's a filter on. It looks like it's foggy. It's a very nice goal though. 4 shots, 3 on target. We've absolutely dominated this game. Senko bombs it forward. Zaka heads it down, intercepted by Ubochimia. Schmid gets the ball. Up to Dubison. Back to Van Bremen. Van Bremen dwells on the ball a little bit too long for my taste. Barisic to Lang. Lang to Gauto. Gauto loses the ball to Betty, rather. Mim, tackled by Lang, loses the ball, but ends up at Ubochioma's foot. He centers it. Mance is there, but the keeper blocks it. Goes off the post. Back up the field. Betty chases it down. Saka to Leschak. Sarkovic. Ubochima to Mance. Mance feeds Ubochima again. Oh, and he bounces it off the defender, who wasn't even looking at him, just ran in front of him. Lang on the throw-in. Zaka gets it over to Viega. Back to Van Bremen. Van Bremen to Barisic. Up to Lang. Oh, he loses the ball. Sarkovic back to Mim. Mim driving forward. And he scores. He bounced it. No, he didn't bounce it off my player. They're not counting that as an own goal, are they? I don't think they are. Nope. What was that? That was Mr. Lang who gave the ball up. Mr. Lang, who's on a 6-3. Okay, we'll bring on Mr. Rueg. You know what? We'll get Youssef on and bring off Fabian Fry. Zaka's not on a yellow. I'm not going to say anything else because the FM gods are listening. Youssef Demir from distance. Senko, a very nice save. Corner kick. Gauto. Knocked away by Saka. Spoljaric picks it up, and the highlight ends. 75 minutes into the game. Comfortable 3-1 lead, 5-2 on the aggregate. Saka sends it in. I have no idea who he was aiming for, but it wasn't whoever those 2 guys in the center were. Dubasin to Demir. Demir to Barisic. Barisic all the way back to Hiltz. He gets it to Van Bremen. Demir back to Barisic. Schmid out to Dubison. Nice save. Holds it up, turns around, centers it. Jovanovic just wide right. Very good pass by Dubasic. And that is the game with a 3-1 win, an aggregate 5-2 victory thanks to goals by Dubison, Gauto, and Van Bremen. We advance to the next round. We like that. Money, money, money in the bank. I tried doing some more research on why the payout for the league was so low. Look, it looks like it's foggy. I haven't been able to find anything. Maybe it's a combination of they're not a big league. They're not, I don't know why this keeps resetting. They don't have a good television contract. Received $100,000 for that. Okay. Basel versus Zurich match is rearranged. I'm going to save this real quick because lessons learned from previous versions of FM. Playing B36 Torshavn. Why is that familiar? B36 Torshavn. They're a Faroe Islands squad. Exceptional youth recruitment? Okay. Well, seeing as how well the Faroe Island team this year is doing, we are not going to take them lightly. And actually what we will probably do is come back for the Torshavn and a Challenge region game. After that, I'll talk about, or during that, I'll talk about how I set up scouting and mini regions and renaming scouts and things like that. Although I did go over renaming scouts the last episode to help you with scouting. So I'll highlight that again when we set up the scouting for this. In the meantime, I'm going to go prepare a bag of ice for my wrist because I have to set up not only my Screenflow, but my short lists, all 22 of them. Fun times. Unless I really, really want to go, I don't know, do I really want to go 22 times 11, 130 something scouting? I am not that big a glutton for punishment. Am I? 30 years ago I might have been. Not today. No. It's just going to be the 22. For starters, we'll see. So, a good victory for us. We remain undefeated. We'll lose eventually, but I like our chances this season. As I mentioned before, all we have to do is finish top 4, and we're in European football, and I will be happy with that. As we get closer to the January transfer window, we'll take a look at players we might move, players we might bring in. The one thing I didn't highlight when I first started was I didn't look at the league itself and some of the goings on. If you'll notice, Basel had a lot of players leave, and it also said we had a lot of players come in. Let me see if I can't pull it up here real quick. Can't remember if I took screenshots of that or not. Yeah, I did. I'll throw this up here on the screen. As you can see, 22.5 million spent. Most players in is Lugano with 19. Most players out is Basel with 21. The big transfer deal was Zeki Abduni to Bursley for 18 million. Zeki, I don't know the name. Center back, AMC striker, 22 years old. I don't know if we got 18 million for him. I think that's kind of a steal, to be honest with you. No, I take that back. I've always looked at the numbers like this. 1 to 5 we know is bad. 5 to 10 is average. So anything below that is not good. Anything above that is okay, depending on the level of competition you're at. The Swiss Super League, we're a pretty high level of competition, so I would adhere to that. If I was back in the Vanarama or something like that, I would lower those expectations. 15 is above average to excellent, your 18, 19, 20s. He is above average in most of his mentals, except positioning. He is pretty good in his technicals, and his physicals are all above average. So yeah, I could see him going for 18 million. If anything, Burnley got a deal on him. Well, OBS says the video is 50 minutes long. Probably about 30 minutes of that is all silence. We'll take that out in the editing process. Going forward, we'll get a lot more in depth with Screenflow, see what we can do scouting wise with it, maybe finding some players in countries that aren't normally scouted right away by other clubs, your B and C tier countries where you can find some really good players, especially if you know what teams to look for. And I do, because I spent all summer trying to figure this out. You'll see the efforts of that coming out in future videos. And then we're going to concentrate on doing our best in the league, doing our best in Europe. We need positive money flow, be it from European winnings or player sales. And we have to be able to replace those players with other players coming up. I didn't highlight them this time. I'll highlight them next time. We'll take a look at the under 20s and the under 19s and the under 18s to see who we have that 3, 4, 5 years down the road could be starting for us or making a decent amount of money for us. So that said, if you have liked what you've seen and heard, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content. Questions, criticisms, comments, leave those down below. I will answer those as fast as I can. My name is FM24. I thank you very much for watching.